In this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can paint faces better so you can get more realistic looking portraits. So I want to invite you all to follow along with me as I demonstrate. So grab your canvas, grab your sketchbook, and let's get started. And hit that subscribe button. All right, what's good everybody? For this picture, I'm going to be using magenta for my underpainting. Normally I use burnt sienna, but for this one, we're just focusing on the structure of her face. And I'm going to mix a little bit of Gamsol. I'm dipping my brush in there and grabbing like a small tiny amount. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but I'm getting like a nice even ratio, and I'm going to mix the two together with my brush. And when you mix the two together, you should have sort of a liquidy consistency. It shouldn't be too thick because for the underpainting, you want it to be nice and loose. Here's the paint that I'm using. I can't even pronounce it. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but it's just magenta. And it's a really good brand. You can buy the same brand as me. It's not too expensive. Don't go to the art store thinking that buying $10,000 paint is going to make you a really good artist, because that is not the case. But when I'm starting off with the facial structure, I like to really match the curves of her face. So that is the right area of her face. I'm getting like a nice smooth line. And the lines don't really have to be too perfect. I like to have sort of like rough edges, and I create lines for areas such as like where her eyes will match and for where her nose and mouth goes. It's sort of like a geometric. I use sort of like triangular shapes. You can use more circular shapes, but using geometric shapes for me is easier because my mind works better with geometric shapes, with getting like certain proportions and ratios right, because I can always adjust it. I can always like move things whenever I have to, but you can just find what works best for you. But I would definitely recommend using this same technique as me because it has worked best. And I've tried different techniques. I've tried using directly with pencil, like doing tracing with pencil and then trying to paint on top of that. But that one takes a lot of energy, and I wouldn't really recommend putting too much of your energy in the underpainting because it doesn't really correlate with how good the end product will look. And over here, I'm starting to go in with some of my darkest grays in the photo. Some of the darkest grays are in areas such as where her cheekbones will lie, underneath her face, and some parts of her body such as like her shoulder and where her chest is. So I'm just matching where all of those colors go and just getting a rough outline of where everything is, because with structure you need a lot of repetition. You're not going to get it right the first try, but once you get everything in a place where they roughly go, then you can sort of tweak from there and you can adjust. And that's what the beauty of oil painting is. You don't have to really see the final product when you start off. You're gonna eventually discover the painting more and more, and then you just start fine tuning, and then you turn something that looks, to be honest, it looks kind of bad to something that looks amazing. And that's why I'm never afraid of my paintings looking bad at the beginning stage, because that is not the point. They're not supposed to be looking magnificent at the beginning stage. That is what the final stage is for. And I really enjoy painting because it sort of reminds me of a lot of things in my life too, because when I'm starting off, you might not see the end result. You might not see the final product, but as you go on and on and on, you keep on showing up. You do some fine tuning, you learn and you adapt. Then that's when the vision becomes clearer and you actually start making like some visible progress, and you start to get in a place that you're really proud of. A good example I could find for this is um going to the gym. When you're in your first day of the gym, you're trying to lose weight, you don't really see the results. And it's all about having faith in your system, it's about having faith in your schedule, having faith in your consistency, because that is what's gonna bring you to the place that you want to be. And when you really have lots of faith in the system, that is when you actually start moving very quickly. And this is seen in art too, because when you're starting off, you might not be that good. I wasn't really that good at art, or I wasn't really good at painting, but it's something that I really enjoyed doing. So I started channeling my energy into it, and I started seeing some positive results from doing that. So just directing your energy to one specific thing and directing it to something that you really enjoy doing will really help you grow in anything that you want to do. You can't split your energy in one lane and then try to split it into another lane as well. You need to direct your energy into one specific thing, one thing that you can obsess over, one thing that you can get into your flow state whenever you do it. And finding that consistency, finding that muscle inside of you that never stops showing up, even when you don't see the results when you start off. You're gonna see the results when you keep on going and when you obsess over it. That is the only time that you see the results. You can't expect to see the results on the first day or the first week, sometimes even the first month, but you're gonna see it in the second month, the third month, the fourth month, the first year, and so on. So, over here, back to the painting, I'm starting to go in with my lighter shades. This is in areas such as in between her eyebrows, underneath her eyelid, and you see that I'm not really perfecting it. Like the eyes aren't necessarily there yet, but I'm gonna go into a later stage with that. Right now, this stage is just called blocking out, and with blocking out, you put colors where they go. That's the easiest way to explain it. You find where the darkest colors go, you match them, find where the lightest colors go, you do that as well. And you just keep on repeating this over and over again, and you'll eventually start getting better, and your eyes will get better at noticing certain trends with facial structure, because I've painted lots of faces before, and everybody has a sort of similar bone structure. Everybody has a similar face structure. Some people's is a little bit more sharper than others. Some people have like longer faces, some people have shorter faces, but generally everybody has the same sort of features on their face with how it looks. So you just start finding trends such as areas in their cheeks, their forehead, and it becomes way easier to really match these things and get accurate looking faces whenever you paint. And in my description, I do have a 7-step free guide that you can follow every time that you want to paint portraits. It's also going to make you join my mailing list where I'm going to give you free value. So if you're interested in that, you can sign up. And if you're not, you could just keep on watching the YouTube videos. And over here, I'm just putting my lightest shades. And when you put the lightest shades, then that's when the face gets more of a structure to it. When you do the darker shades, it sort of looks flat and the face doesn't really have its features yet. The face gets its features when you put the highlights and the brightest parts, because those are where the curves of the face are. The curves are what gives the face its shape. It's not necessarily the shadows that give it its shape. So as I paint, you can start to see that it's starting to have a little bit more form and more structure to it. And when you're painting, you also want to start off with your darkest colors, and then you move on to your lightest colors. If you start off with your lightest colors and then you go down to your darkest colors, the face it won't really look as three-dimensional as you want it to, because when you look at a face, the lightest colors are the ones that pop out the most. When you put those at the bottom of a painting, they're going to be harder to see, and the darkest parts will be standing out. So you want to start off with your darkest colors, and then you layer on top of it with the lightest ones. And you should build a habit of this. You don't want to be going back and forth with your technique, because the only way how you will start to build a muscle memory is by using the same techniques and using the same patterns and routines, and you learn from them and you adapt and you keep on improving them. That is the way how you're going to get better, and you're going to build this muscle memory whenever you paint. All right, so not everything is filled out, and I'm going to drag some of my existing paint to blend the colors together. You see that I'm not really using new paint from my palette. I'm just using the paint that's already there, and I would recommend doing this so that you don't waste extra paint. And I'm just continuing to blend, and you want to clean off your brush. You don't want to drag paint from dark areas or paint from light areas into the areas that you're blending, because it's going to show up and you're going to get dark paint in a light area that you don't really want it. So each time I'm just cleaning off my brush, I'm blending it together. And after I do that, the face sort of looks smoother now. And I go in with my darker details just to really punch in those areas that go in with shadows and get the bone structure of the face right. And if I were using skin tones, these will be the areas that I use my burnt umber or a really dark tan, depending on how light or how dark your skin is. And I would do that so that the face has like sort of shadows on it, and everything has a sharper shape, and everything has a real nice realistic look to it. In some of my previous videos I show that, and I like to use tones all the way down to black because you want to have a full range of colors that you use. You don't want your colors to be too limited with using only like super bright colors or super dark colors. When you use all the way from the darkest darks to the brightest whites, that's when you really get a nice pop in your picture. And this was something that I struggled with. I was sort of scared to use dark colors and really light colors because I thought that things wouldn't really look that good. I had trouble with mixing everything and making it look smooth. But if you want to mix everything and make it look smooth, I realized that you have to use your clean brush. You have to just blend everything together, and then you go on with your darkest tones, and then you mix those. You use small amounts, just like how I did in this video with underneath her cheek. I already blended the colors, and then I grabbed a little bit of the darkest magenta. I put a little bit, and then I mixed it in. That is how I get like a nice smooth look that doesn't really look out of place. And I just continue doing that with other areas that need it, such as underneath her eyebrows and on the other side of her face, the right side of her face where the shadows are peeking out. And over here, I'm just sharpening up areas such as where her eyes are, her eyelashes, and then I'm gonna start adding some more details with her eyes, and I'm eventually gonna go in with her lips. But some fast forward here, I go in with my brightest whites now. And just like I said, you want to have a full color spectrum. You want to go all the way from your darkest colors all the way to the brightest ones, because that's how you really get a nice, clean structure of the face and features that really stand out instead of it looking flat. And over here is the phase that start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and you start getting a little bit excited. Because sometimes when the picture isn't really looking that good, I'm like, but I'm like, I gotta trust the process because I know that at the end it's gonna look good. And as I do it over and over again, I'm not even afraid of being messy at the first stages, because that is the point of it. Before, I used to be obsessive over the underpainting. I would go in with my pencil, I'd match every single detail, every single hair, I'd do it with my pencil. And once I actually joined my art class in college, this was like an advanced level, then the teacher said that we shouldn't even use our pencil anymore. So you can imagine how I felt during that time. I'm like, how could I break this habit that I've been doing for years of my life and just forget it like I never did it? But I tried it, and it felt very, very weird at first because you start to really get used to painting one specific type of way. And when you try to paint a different type of way, it's like trying to switch up your whole routine. And it sort of gets scary in a way because you don't know how the end product will look. And I'm somebody that cares a lot about their artwork, so you could just imagine how I felt during this time. But I took a leap and I tried it out. The first time that I tried it, it didn't really end up that good. But the next time that I did it, it's getting a little bit better. The next time that I did it, it got a little bit better again. And I was starting to get faster. And instead of using my pencil, I started just going in directly with paint, mixed in with the Gamsol to thin the paint. And I was just going loose with my lines. She told me that you don't have to be perfect on the first stages of your painting. that is what the sharpening up phases are for, and that's what layering phases are for. So I just took out this huge block of time and this huge block of energy out of my routine, and that just opened up so much more time and so much more energy for me to focus it on things that really matter. And that is getting the structure right, getting my colors right, and getting the the whole harmony of the picture right. But I'm so glad that I did that, because that is something that I've really found value in, and I want to spread that with everybody else. So don't use your pencil, use your brush, go in right away and be loose. All right, get the rough structure of everything. You don't want it to be completely messy. You want to at least have a little bit of structure in your picture. But go in with your brush, mix it with your Gamsol, start getting a rough trace of everything, and then you go in with your details. Start off with your darker spots, and then you move on to your lighter spots. That's how you get some more structure. And then after that, you blend it with your clean brush. And if you really want to punch in some dark areas, you go in with your darkest colors one more time. You add a little bit where it goes, and you blend those on top of it. After you blend the skin tones, then that's when you start going in with the hair. The hair is very simple, and the hair is actually honestly pretty fun to make, because you're just putting the dark areas where they go and the light areas where they go. It's really the same concept as when you're painting skin. Only thing is that you're using very dark colors, and you're not really using mid-tones whenever you're painting hair. You go in with my darkest magenta, and I'm gonna go in with my brightest white. Now for this run, I don't think I finished the hair. I just put a rough outline of where the shadows go, and I will eventually go into this area. But yeah, I didn't finish the hair. I just put a rough outline of the shadows because I wanted to focus on the lips first. But I remember this time I set a challenge out for myself. I wanted to paint every single day for 30 days straight, and this was at the end of my school year. So that was a very crazy decision of me, because at the end of the school year, you're already ready to go home. You're not really trying to do any extra energy, do any extra work. But this isn't really work for me. I really enjoy painting, and it's something that actually gives me more energy instead of taking my energy away. So I wanted to see how good I can get within 30 days. I wanted to see if I can get faster at painting, or if I can really um sharpen up skills that I was lacking on. So I did it first day, and that was like super easy. And along with this, I was making reels. So I made a reel every single day because I wanted to grow my Instagram page. So first day I created a painting. It was a chrome texture, and it was a photo of a person. I practiced this texture. It was really easy for me to make it, and the details were honestly pretty good, and I was pretty confident. So the next day I went back in. I think I made a Tyler the Creator Chromacopia album cover because I really like that album, and I wanted to make Tyler the Creator. So I made that one. It did pretty good, and that one actually performed pretty well on Instagram, because when you create celebrity art, or when you create fan art, then you like attract certain amounts of people, and you attract like a wider fan base of people who really enjoy the music of Tyler. So I made that one, and the Tyler the Creator one, it didn't really come out the way how I wanted to, but I had to stay consistent every single day. I couldn't really focus too much on if something was way too good, or if it wasn't really that good. And honestly, you should just do that with whenever you're painting. Just go in, have the mindset of, I'm gonna try my best on this one. I'm gonna put all my energy into it. And whether it comes out good or bad, then it doesn't matter. You're just gonna move on to the next one. And the next one, you have the same exact mindset for when you're making it. And really, the mindset of it matters the most, because when you have the mindset of thinking that this is going to be the best picture I've ever made, I'm going to put all my energy into this, and I'm not going to struggle at all, and you think that you're just going to direct all your energy into it, then the results will come. Even if it doesn't come out how you want it to, you just got to repeatedly have that mindset. You see, the next one that you make, the next one that you make, the next one that you make. And that was the mindset that I had for this 30-day challenge. Now, the next day, I did a Steve Lacy photo. Yeah, I did a Steve Lacy photo, and then after that, I started doing like a mini series. I was recreating famous pictures, such as like the lady with the pearl earring. I created American Gothic. What else did I make? I made like a ton of different ones. I also made some with like just one color base, such as how I'm making over here with the magenta. Over there, I made it with a blue, and I just did like a full color spectrum on the blues. And if you want to see the full 30-day challenge, you can see it on my Instagram page. I posted it all. And with the consistency, I was building this muscle inside of me that started wanting to paint every single day instead of seeing it like as a chore. I wanted to do it because I integrated it into my routine. And that is something that is super powerful. If you want to integrate something into your routine, you just got to force yourself to do it every single day. Find that block of time that you're not doing anything or that you have extra energy. Just do the thing that you want to integrate. This can be if you want to run every single day, start going out on runs every single day. That's the only way to do it. Sometimes you got to force yourself to do it. But after you do it, then that's when you feel really good. During this 30-day challenge, every single day that I was making a painting and then posting it, that felt like my day was accomplished. If I didn't do that, then my day would feel like there's something missing and I wouldn't really be able to go to sleep peacefully that night. It would always be circling in my head that, oh, I didn't accomplish what I wanted to do today. So at the end of the challenge, I actually got a lot better at painting people, and I really started like knocking down this technique that I'm showing you guys. I just went in every single day with that mindset and with the same sort of structure with creating underpainting, going in loosely, going from the darks all the way to the lights, mixing things, getting the darkest tones where they go, getting the highlights where they go, getting the super bright whites. And that just made me get even better every single time. Every time that I go in, I was doing that. And my art just advanced to a whole new level. And I would really recommend you guys do this if you want to get really good at painting. You need to practice every time that you get the chance. You need to practice. I'm not going to tell you to practice every single day, but you need to be consistent at least. Because if you take a huge block, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, each time that you paint, you can't expect yourself to get good. And that applies to really anything. If you want to get good at something, you can't take like these huge blocks of time out of your schedule, these huge breaks in between each time that you do it, because you're not really going to build that consistency muscle. That consistency muscle can really work wonders, and I've experienced it myself in many different things that I did. Consistency is the only thing that you need. And when you mix consistency with that mindset of I'm going to be better today, I'm going to do even better than I did last time, then that's when you actually like knock down things. You start becoming a person that's super unrecognizable. And that's what I experienced after this 30 days. I I got way better. That's the only way that I can explain it. And really have no choice but to get better when you're consistent. But back to the painting, I finishing up these lighter areas with the hair, excuse me, actually the darker areas. And then I'm going to go in with the lighter areas, you'll see. And I put some of the light reflections on her face. You see that now she's having a little bit more of shine to her because I added the really bright whites on her eyes, also on her cheeks, on her shoulder, and some areas of her body. And now I'm starting to add in the whites. You see that I'm not really using mid tones with hair. You go in with your super dark tones and then your super bright tones, and then you mix it with your clean brush to get a smooth transition. And we're pretty much done with the picture from here. And now I'm pretty happy with the results that I got, and hopefully you guys can follow along because I want you guys to be proud of the work that you make, because you deserve to be proud of the artwork that you make. That is an extension of you, and it's something that you should make you really feel good. Art should make you feel good on the inside. It's rejuvenating. It's really deeply touching when you really harness your creative energy and you put it onto a canvas. But I want to thank you all for watching this video, and don't forget, stay consistent with the process. Each time that you go in, have that mindset of thinking that I'm going to be better this time. Each time that you go in, say I'm going to be consistent. and just execute. Just execute every single time. Follow the same structure, follow the same framework, and you will get better. All right, don't try to switch between frameworks. Follow one specific thing, and you'll get better at that thing, and you'll start to build that muscle memory. And that is exactly how I was able to advance my skills. That is exactly how I'm able to get the results that I do. And that is exactly how I'm able to become super quick with every single portrait that I'm making. So I want you guys to get these same results, but the only way how you're going to do that is a mix of different things. And it all comes from your mindset. You got to fix that mindset, get it in the right place. And from there on, you're just smooth sailing. You have nothing else to worry about. But I want to thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.